Elephant Man Podcast Network, grown man conversations dealing with elephants in the room. It's your man DB. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell so you can know when new material is coming out. IG Elephant Man Podcast, Facebook / Elephant Man Podcast, Twitter / Poster Boys. I hated Twitter, but I'm starting to like it. I like Twitter. And then Facebook, YouTube, hit the Paleo Hebrew and subscribe. Yo, what's going on? Blessings, everybody. Also, we also on Rumble as well. Rumble. I just told my kid I'm about to go live. He's playing the video game. I said, calm down, I'm going live. He said, okay. And now he's screaming to the top of his lungs. So if you hear something, I apologize. We're on Rumble. And we also on BitChute, right? We on BitChute as well. So shout out to everybody who's coming in. Shalom, shalom. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. I got to start getting me a regular time. I'm going to put a poll out to get a regular time to come on, because I come on at different times. Shout out to Sister Shonda at large. She will be coming on at 7. So I want to make sure that I am off of here so I can be able to join that. I hate when the brews cross, even though we can get playback. We do got playback, but I like the live interaction sometime as well. I'm going to slow walk this thing, y'all. I'm going to slow walk this thing. And then shout out to Sister E as well. She got something going on at 9 p.m. I think that's Central Standard Time. We living in the interest. It's like suspenseful, man. It's like so much going on. It's just hard to keep up with. So we living in a suspenseful time. A very, very suspenseful time. Shout out, you know what? I'm getting my internet fixed. I'm going to get some gear going on. So, because I like to show my face, man. I don't like to be with the icon, and no shade to those who do, but I like to interact and facial expressions, and I guess that's from doing the 2 years of radio. I'm saying we did a local radio, WGVE 88.7 FM, WGVE 9630268. No, I was playing. Still remember the number. But I like podcasts, but I like to interact. That's what I like to do. But anyway, I'm gonna slow walk this, y'all. I'm not going. And I know. Shout out to Dante Fordson. Shout out to Teo Ministries. Shout out to all those people who have did extensive studies on this stuff, right? And I'm gonna leave a link to 2 videos from Dante's. So if you're going to jump right into it, right? But my question is, where are the Khazars? Where are the Khazars? And I just came up with this video because I've seen 2 little videos that's very, very interesting. Now, a lot of people in our community, they know who the Khazars are, who the Khazarian people are. And when I looked at the history, there were some very powerful people, right? And then all of a sudden it just fall off the face of the earth, per se, right? We just like, what happened to them, right? And then we see a lot of Christianity, and we see a lot of Muslim, right, dominance, right? We see the Catholic Church with Christianity, and we see the Muslim, but then there was a third group of people that was very powerful, and then all of a sudden, are they gone? Where are they at? Now, people in our community, a lot of us know exactly what's going on, but a lot of more people are asking and seeing what's going on. So I'm going to slow walk this. That's why I broke it down into 3 parts, right? Not only am I going to share the resources, but I broke it down into 3 parts because it was just something I was chewing on today, and it was in my spirit. And I'm telling you, man, everybody, I'm going to put it like this. Everybody want to be Israel when it's time for the blessings, right? When it's time to be kings and priests. We line up, but when it's time for them consequences, and when it's time for those the things that we have, the righteous requirements, it's like we dodge it, right? So it's like, okay, look, you take the suffering, you take the beat down, and then when it's time to be kings and priests and all of this stuff, then I'll take that. Everybody want to be Israel, y'all, when it comes to the good part, right? But anyway, I'm going to get right into that. Before I get into that, I wanted to see what's going on. T. Dizzle in the building. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Apostle Curtis Lewis has been knocking them out the park, man. Your videos, I gotta try to keep up with them, man. A wealth of information as far as being a minister in the evangelical world down south, and then being able to come right over and say, hey, you know what? To be able to awaken and say, man, it's possible to keep this law, statutes, and commandments, and we should, right? Felicia Hurd, peace and blessings to you. Peace and blessings. Lynn, shalom, shalom to you. Blessings to you as well. D. Wembley, shalom, blessings to you. Again, I'm not gonna be long because I want to check out Sister Shonda Lodge's video. But that was the main question. I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share a video, and I'm gonna read something from an author, Arthur Kessler, right? Oh, D. Wembley, shalom. I think I said D. Wembley, shalom. Okay, let's see. Share my screen. I'm gonna share these two little quick videos. I hope my internet act right. Sometimes the internet acts up for whatever reason. I'm gonna get one of those boosters. It's a booster thing you can plug into the wall to give you stronger strength in certain parts of your house. But I'm gonna show these two different videos. Very, very interesting. And I'm gonna read the book from Arthur Kessler, 13th Tribe. Been out since 1976 rather. I'm going to read chapter 2. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there's certain things that was said. I'm going to read some of that. I got that in PDF form. If you email me, I don't want to be saying I'm going to give away copyrighted material. Purchase the book, but if you don't, I'll make sure you get it. Okay. So anyway, I want to show this one video. Where are the Khazars? Oh, we got Teo in the building. Now they got an extensive study. Teo and Dante got an extensive study, but it's just some things that came in my mind when I was looking at it. So let's check out the video. A lot of new people are coming to the awakening, y'all. So we can't assume people know about Shem, Ham, and Japheth. We can't assume that people know Genesis 10. We can't assume that they know all these different scriptures. Arthur Kessler, the book. We can't assume that people know these different things because they come to me asking me, right, like Nicodemus in the night, and I just assume that they know, right? More and more people are coming in, right? They're tired of the lies. They want the truth, right? I say give it to me straight. Give me the truth, and then let me decide. Don't trick or try to deceive me. One thing I hate or I dislike, I'm not going to say hate. One thing I dislike more than overt operation is a covert operation. Pretending to be with me on my team and you got a different agenda behind the scenes and fool my people. That burns me up, right? So that must have got something to do with my calling. I rather I tell you the truth and you dislike me and be like, I'm gonna cut you off. Well, that's cool, but I'm not gonna slick willy you in order to get make up half truths and half lies, so you can believe so you can believe that I'm on your team, right? I'm not gonna hide behind none of that stuff. So anyway, I want to show this video. This is a little quick video, and that's the reason why I brought it up. And I'm gonna read some Arthur Kessler. Some of this is information that you guys know about, but it's a lot of new people coming in to the awakening, and I want to be able to share these two videos, and I'm going to read this video, and I'm going to read some different words because different words is being said. Now, some people have said all three of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, were black, and I say, okay, I feel you on that. I'm not debating or anything like that. Oh, shout out to Teo Ministries. Salama, blessings to you. Shout out to Dale J. Salama. Shout out to Ernest Higgs. And I hope this thing act right. Because this doggone computer, we're gonna act right. I already prayed over it. In the name of Yahusha, you're gonna let me do this whole thing. If they take the video down, I'm gonna load it up in the BitChute and the Rumble. Hebrew Sphere and Hebrew Connect. That's another thing I gotta do. But Yes. Okay. So let's say, for instance, Sam, Shem, Ham, and Japheth were all black, or because but I say this: the whole planet was black. The whole planet was black, or black and brown at one time. So, and I want y'all to be nice. Where did white people come from? Right now, don't stop. I'm not saying that they're. I'm not. I'm just saying. So we know we have white people in the earth right now, right? Blue eye, blonde hair, gray eyes, brown hair. I'm not being racist. So to say that Japheth was white, black, because Noah's 3 sons were black, and we know we got some albinoism, and we got some whatever your explanation is. Well, so and so was an albino, and or they stayed in this region, or whatever. I'm saying they could have been. He could have been. Japheth could have been a black guy, man. More than likely was. The whole planet was black. Adam and Eve was black, right? Well, I'm using that term because that's the term we use, right? From the dust to the ground, right? But then white people came along, right? So where did they come from? How did they come on? So they're here. So you can still be white and come from black lineage. You get what I'm saying? So if Japheth himself was black, people from the Gentile nation, from his lineage, some kind of way they became up being white. But I'm not going into that. But I want to share this video real quick. And then I'm gonna share this other video. I'm gonna read Arthur Kessler, and we're gonna get off. I'm gonna slow walk this, y'all. I'm gonna slow walk this into 3 parts, and I'm gonna share some resources from some links. So let's watch this video real quick. Why y'all laughing about? They came. See, I said be nice. They came from Mars and tails. They got tails and all that. Drinking rabbit's blood and the Reese. No, I'm just saying. I made that statement because some people said Shem, Ham, and Japheth was black, right? And we saying that a lot of the Gentile and the people that live in the European nations and the islands, Kittim and all of those guys, Greece and Italy and people in Russia and Germany, they come from Japheth, right? So I mean, when they turn and how they turn, I'm not getting into that. That's a whole other different story. But see, I knew y'all was gonna start acting up to my different Mars and all. That's not where I was going when I said that. So anyway, let me play this video for Israel start clowning in here, and let's watch this video real quick.
Many of the combatants took. For example, an entire surrounded Khazar village supposedly committed collective suicide by fire rather than surrender to the enemy. The conflict ended when the Muslims managed to invade Khazaria and force the Kagan to convert to Islam, but it seems like a hollow, insincere conversion because we never hear of it again. On the operational scale, matters were inconclusive. But on the grand strategic scale, Islam's titanic pincer movement had been halted in the east by the Khazars and in the west by the Franks at almost the same time. This was the end of Umayyad expansionary efforts against the Khazars, and even the end of an Umayyad ruled caliphate, as the less expansionist Abbasids took power in 750. Rather than going into more of the military and politics of the Khazars, we'll instead discuss 2 things that they are known for above all others: their religion and their trade. Unlike the vast majority of empires in Eurasia at the time, and perhaps uniquely among them, the Khazars were officially a Jewish state, having converted in roughly the year 740, though the date is a matter of scholarly debate. What was the reason for this, and how did it come to pass? At the beginning of the 8th century, the Mediterranean world was polarized primarily between Christianity and Islam, faiths which served almost as the religious arm of their respective realms, and would inevitably be used to gain political domination over the newly converted. The Khazar Empire was a powerful realm of its own, which represented a third force, and had proved itself a diplomatic and military equal to the Caliphate and the Empire, even having placed their own candidate on the Roman throne. Yet, interacting with these sophisticated civilizations had made Khazar rulers realize that their Tengriist shaman beliefs could not grant spiritual, legal, and dynastic legitimacy like the great monotheistic faiths could. However, the Khazars could not accept Christianity or Islam. Accepting conversion to either superpower's religion would automatically subordinate Khazars to either the emperor or the caliph. So, it seemed like the only logical choice was to, as the third major power, choose the third major religion, which did not have as many strings attached, Judaism. How this happened isn't entirely certain. There was no momentous event like Rome's Battle of the Milvian Bridge, for example, which eventually led to the empire's conversion to Christianity. However, there are certain trends which can explain why it happened when it did. Even before the Khazar ruling caste put Tengriism aside, the Northern Kingdom, as Byzantium called it, had extensive connections with Jews and their religious practices. There were old prominent Jewish communities on the Crimean and Taman peninsulas, which had existed ever since Greek and Roman times, living in cities such as Panticapaeum and Phanagoria. External events in the early 700s were to increase the Jewish presence in Khazaria to an unprecedented degree. Persecution of Jews in the Byzantine Empire began in the reign of Justinian, but particularly intensified under the reigns of Heraclius and Leo III the Isaurian, the latter of whom sought to forcibly baptize and thus convert Jewish citizens to Christianity in 722. While Leo's decree was not effectively enforced, the policy led many Jews to flee from Byzantium and into Khazar lands, including from Roman possessions in Crimea. Simultaneously, the Jews also migrated into Khazaria from the Muslim world, but in far smaller numbers. The refugees
Wait a minute. Hold on now. Hold on.
Refugees which fled to Khazar lands represented themselves as bearers of an old, sophisticated, ancient culture, and were almost definitely a key factor in creating a cosmopolitan outlook of tolerance in Atil, the Khazar capital, which Arab travelers admired. It can also be speculated that Jewish missionary refugees, who also brought Byzantine arts, crafts, and superior methods of agriculture and trade, probably used this influence to persuade the inner Khazar tribes of the political and spiritual advantages of conversion to the neutral Judaism. Whatever the case, by the mid-800s at the latest, Jewish-themed Moses coins were being issued in Khazar territories, a fact which allows us to segue onto the second stereotypically Khazar activity, trade. Khazar lands were known.
All right. Sorry for that beast commercial or whatever they was fighting. What the heck was going on? Okay, so I didn't want to get into that. I want to share that video in the chat with you guys. That's one video. And then look at Randy Powell laughing at my show. My stuff ghetto. All right, we're trying to be scholarly here and all kind of stuff going on. All right, so I'm gonna share the next video. I'm gonna share that. So that whole video is very interesting. But it was 20 minutes and 30 seconds, but I just shared it in the chat. Watch it from beginning to end because it talks about everything. But one thing that they said was Jewish convert, right? And people are like, man, you can't tell people who they are and what they are. I didn't say it. Jewish converts. And so they was getting persecuted. So a lot of people was joining different faiths because of conquest. That's one of the words I'm going to talk about. A lot of people, it wasn't a true conversion, right? But like he said, he couldn't join if they became Christian. King Bulan became Christian, then they would have to submit to the Byzantine. If they became Muslim, they would have to submit to the Caliphate, right? So, and then there was like the one that they had was just way too primitive, shamanism and stuff. So they converted to Judaism, right? I'm also going to talk about that the Christian Zionists. I got the definition of it, and they believe. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm gonna show the second video. I'm gonna read the Arthur Kessler chapter 2, and then we're gonna have some discussion, and then I'm going to oh, wait a minute. I didn't put the audio in there. This is only a 3-minute video, so it's not that long. Share the screen. You're not new to this, Bizel. All right, where are the Khazars now? Because usually when people colonize or they rewrite history, the victor, the spoils of war, and the story told goes to the victor, if I should say it like that. So whoever wins, if their legacy looks bad, they won't put that in the book, right? They'll keep it out of the book when it's time to pass down history. They will whitewash history. They'll change history. They'll tweak history to make it seem like it ain't that bad. If they got done real bad, they'll make it seem like it ain't that bad. That didn't get done real bad. So I would think that the Khazar Empire being one of the powerful empires, like where are they? But they move in covertly. But I'm gonna show you this real quick. It's 2 minutes and 44 seconds, and then we're gonna read the Arthur Kessler because I got another video I want to show. I mean another slide I want to show you.
Khazar was a semi-nomadic ethnic that lives in the north part of the Caucasus Mountains on 6th century. They were one of the Turkic family which established the Khazaria Khaganate in 7th century due to the fall of the Western Göktürk. In the 8th century, many of the Khazars who practiced shamanism finally converted to Judaism. The Khazars have a good relationship with the Byzantine Empire, but having conflicts with the Arabian. Until the 9th century, the Pekineg ethnic invaded the Khazaria Empire. This makes the Khazarians turn weaker. The Khazaria Empire falls when the Kiev and Rus ethnic, under Volodymyr the Great, which is also defeated the Volga Bulgars. After the fall, the Khazar finally disappeared from the history. However, is that really the Khazars disappeared after the fall? There were some theories that may help us to determine where are the Khazars now. Some theories stated that the Khazars were not disappeared. Instead, they're migrating to the west and forming the parts of the core of the Ashkenazi Jews population in Europe. According to an Israeli-born genetist, Aaron L. Haik, he found that the Ashkenazi Jews are the European Jews. They only have 3% similarity compared with ancient ancestors, which connected them with the other ethnics in the Middle East. This means that the DNA of the Ashkenazi Jews can be detected from an ancient Ashkenazi. Some Ashkenazis converted to Judaism before migrating to the Middle East for establishing a Jew country there. According to Aaron, an Asian DNA is also found in an Ashkenazi Jews. So it can be determined that an Asian DNA is actually the Khazar DNA, which converted to Judaism. Therefore, it was said that the Khazar Jews have been absorbed into the Ashkenazi Jews. This means that the Khazars were only disappeared from the history, but not for their people. Some of the Khazars were also assimilated with Turkic and Cumans. There were some figures which possibly the Khazars have been absorbed into the Ashkenazi Jews, such as Karl Marx, Albert Einstein, Adolf Hitler, Mark Zuckerberg, and many more.
All right. So basically, that video is basically saying the Khazars are not gone. They are the Ashkenazi Jewish people that we say from Ashkenaz, and so they're not gone. And so I want to open up this Christian Zionist video, but I think right now they're pretty much at a covert mission, right? Again, I'm gonna break it down with Jacob Schiff and Paul Warburg and a lot of these other different guys later on down the line. But they didn't disappear, right? They didn't disappear. They're here today. They own a lot of the record companies. They own the Hollywood. They own the media, and a lot of you guys that's in the chat know this. But I had people ask me this, and so a lot of people was like, "Hey, leave the Jewish people alone. The people that's in Israel right now is the people, right? Now you can convert. Oh, and then also a lot of the people, a lot of the Jewish people that got persecuted ran up in Khazaria, which is modern day. Let me stop this right quick. Stop the share, cancel. Which is modern day Ukraine, right? I got my map right here. Show it where it's at. Right here, modern day Ukraine. It's not by coincidence, right? They go Crimea, right? They having a battle with Russia right now, and talking about they winning some of the battles. Ain't nowhere in the world that little army beating up on Russia. Russia is one of the largest armies in the world. Russia, China, and America is the three largest armies in the world. Ain't nobody running up on none of them three. And the crazy part about it is this is the old Khazaria. We don't hear about it. We don't see it on maps. We don't hear it talked about in school. I didn't know nothing about it until later, right? And we are told that the Jews that are from Europe are related to the Jews in the Bible, right? So a lot of the Jews fled persecution from Portugal, from Spain, from all over Europe, and went to this Khazaria area. That's why a lot of those Ukraine, a lot of people, majority of Ukraine people is Jewish and Ashkenazi Jewish or whatever like that. And there's no wonder that they're getting all kind of aid. It's very interesting. They're getting all kind of aid, right? But this is the map. I think they trying to get this area back. And Shadow Tail Ministry is talking about Khazaria 2.0 because they know that it's getting hot in Israel right now, and so they want to have that area back if they got to go back home. That's my opinion on that. They might want to get that area back if they want to go home, right? And Russia like, no, it's all good. This belongs to us. This is our territory. And a lot of the military conflicts is because of this right here. A lot of people don't even know the Ashkenazi Jews is the Khazarian people. A lot of people do know within our circle, but as more people come in, they just not learning it. So here's another map, right? They couldn't join Constantine, and they couldn't join the Caliph, right? They would have to submit to him, okay? But I'm gonna read this Christian Zionism real quick. I'm gonna read this Christian Zionism. I'm gonna present, share the screen. All right. Very interesting. Very interesting. So it's either I always hear one of three things, right? It don't matter who the people are. See, this is the reason why who the people are is important, right? It's not skin doctrine. It's not trying to take the place of Mashiach's finished work on it, But if you don't know who the people are, you're looking at the wrong spot. It's a wrong indicator. This is the reason why. So if people either say it don't matter, or you guys got an identity crisis, those are the people you're trying to, or once Yahushua died on the cross, we don't have to worry about that anymore. But I'm gonna read this right here, this paper, this website right here. I'm gonna read multiple sources. The Zionism. Oh no! Before I do that, I'm sorry. I'm going ahead of myself. See, I'm getting excited. I'm going ahead of myself. Before I do that, I'm supposed to read the Arthur Kessler, right? I'm supposed to read the Arthur Kessler, chapter 2, 13th tribe. I'm going to read some of that Arthur Kessler real quick. Before I go into that, I got excited. And then we're going to get off of here. We're going to slow walk this. Arthur Kessler right here. He wrote a book called The 13th Tribe, right? You can convert, but that does not make you bloodline. You can convert, but that does not make you bloodline, right? And I think about even with back in the day with the Levites, right? You might say, hey, man, that's cool to work in the temple and going to the inner court, the outer court, the holies of holies, right? And you're from, I don't know, France or whatever. I want to be a Levite. And you put on all of the stuff, you convert to Judaism. You cannot become a Levite like that, right? You have to be. It's like you're born into it. You have to be chosen, right? But not in the sense of elitism, but it's just chosen, right? So everybody wants to be Israel. Everybody want to be Israel. When it's time to reign and rule and be the kings and priests and chosen, everybody wants to be Israel, right? But don't nobody want to take the consequences. Don't nobody want to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Don't nobody want the requirement. To whom much is given, much is required. The oracles of the Most High, leading by examples to all of the nations, right? So that's a big plan. So if this is the reason why, going back to that whole 2 months ago, the whole anti-Semitism thing going on that we talking about, if the Khazarian people are from Japheth, you can't be anti-Semitic with Japheth per se. Technically, you really can't be, because they're not Semitic people, right? But I'm gonna read this real quick, and I'm gonna pull up these other videos real quick, and we're gonna be able to get out here so we can go support sis. But I want to slow walk through this fair use. Let me play my fair use real quick. Fair use video. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Again, fair use. All right, fair use. Arthur Kessler, the 13th tribe. The religion of the Hebrews, writes Bury, and exercised a profound influence on the creed of Islam, and it has been a bias for Christianity. He had won scattered proselytes, but the conversion of the Khazars to the undoubted religion of Jehovah is unique in history. They said one of three things. They said 1, propaganda; 2, subversion; 3, military conquest. So these are pretty much Talmudic Jews, not Torah-based Jews, right? So it's almost like a hijacking of the faith, per se. It's a hijacking of the scriptures, the Hebraic scriptures. So it says, what was the motivation of this unique event? It is not easy to understand this, Arthur Kessler, to get under the skin of the Khazar prince. Covered it was but a coat of mail. But if we reason in terms of power, politics, which obeys essentially the same rules throughout the ages, a fairly plausible analogy offers itself. At the beginning of the 8th century, the world was polarized between two superpowers, Christianity and Islam. Their ideology doctrines were wielding a power politics pursued by classical methods: propaganda, subversion, and military conquest, right? So even in Christianity, when Constantine, and shout out to Brother Ron and Truth Unedited, he brought that out too. The last couple of videos, very, very interesting. When they say, in this sign we shall conquer, right? So it was about pretty much not a conversion to the kingdom of the Most High, but it was propaganda, subversion, and military conquest, right? That's pretty much what it is. And so it's a hijacking of the faith, right? And so here you are with true intentions, trying to worship the Most High in spirit and truth, trying to grasp, try to get an understanding of the king and the kingdom, and doing the best you can with what you're taught and what you know. But it's a hidden agenda for others, right? This is the kingdom, right? Divide and conquer, right? In this sign we shall conquer. So the Muslims, the Christians, and the Talmudic Jews and the Khazars been having battles for years, right? And it's for propaganda, subversion, and military conquest. I'm gonna read that, what the military conquest is, in a minute. It said, okay, The Khazar Empire represented a third force, which was proved equal to either of both of them, but an adversary and an ally. So they can interchangeably become an adversary or an ally, but it could only maintain its independence by accepting neither Christianity nor Islam, for either choice will have them automatically subordinate to the authority of the Roman emperor or the caliph. All right. There had been no lack of efforts by their court by either to convert Khazars to Christianity or Islam. The dynamic intermarriages and shifting military advances based on mutual self-interest, relying on its military strength, the Khazar kingdom with its hinterland of vassal tribes was determined to preserve its position as a third force. Their initiate contact by Byzantine and Caliphate had taught the Khazars that the primitive shamanism was not only barbaric and outdated compared to the great monotheistic creeds, but also unable to confer to the leaders on the spiritual and legal authority which the rules of the two theocratic world powers, the caliph and the emperor, enjoyed. Yet the conversion to either creed would have meant submission. Okay, so they converted to Judaism, right? There could be no question the ruler was there could be no question that the ruler was acquitted by political motives in adopting Judaism, right? So basically, and this is another thing that I have found out too, King Bulan said they could bring some of their shaman practices, right? That's why it's a mixture, right? It's all about conquest. It's all about propaganda. It's all about military conquest, propaganda, and subversion. So they did the same thing that Constantine said. He said, "Look, this is going to be the state religion, right? But you can bring your shamanism with you. You can bring it with you. Okay, it don't matter, right? So it wasn't a true conversion of the heart. So when the global Zionists, well, that's going to be another. I'm going to talk about that later. So when people say we need to get Israel back to, we need to get the Jewish people back to their homeland because they're the biblical Jews, and they use scriptures like, "I will bless them that bless thee, I will curse them that curse thee," right? It's a sleight of hand because you're not the original people. You're from the line of Japheth. Now you can convert many nations and tongues, right? People from Ham, Japheth, and Shem, right, go into the kingdom, and people from Ham, Japheth, and Shem background is not going into the kingdom, right? So he's no respected person in that matter. However, you cannot hijack. You can't be something else. You can't be somebody else. You can't replace people. Replacement theology, right? You can't replace who's Hebrew or Jewish. Or you can't replace it because that's what you want to do. You can't change laws, statutes, and commandments. You can't just come into the faith and do what you want because lawlessness is without the law. So you can do whatever you want. And what is Alice Crowley? Do what thy will. So there has to be a plumb line. There has to be a standard, right? Yeah, we saved by grace through faith, right? There is mercy, there is grace, there is mercy, but it's a requirement for what he wants to do. He was real specific when you read Deuteronomy, when you read in Leviticus, when you read in these different books. He was real specific. The measurements of the temple and how many and what animal and what to do with it. He was real specific with it, right? So. Of course, we don't ceremonially kill bulls and goats no more. But I'm saying he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, right? And people think that that's putting a yoke of bondage on your neck, but it's not, right? He said, "Come and learn of me. My yoke is easy, my burden is light." But at the same time, he wants us to be quarter Shem. He wants us to be set apart. He wants us to be followers of the way. And see, what's going to happen is it's going to be this interfaith. It's going to be emergence of the faith, and I'm going ahead of myself a little bit, but Catholicism means universal, so it's going to be an emergence of all these different faiths and backgrounds. It don't matter, right? I respect you, you respect me. We're going to tolerate. But Yahweh don't share. I told y'all that before. He don't share. And so it's going to be a group of people that is love the Most High, and they're going to be a problem to this great reset, to this new world order. They're going to be a problem because they're not going to accept anything. But I'm going to read this Christian Zionism. Tens of thousands of churches have committed to believe in the importance of standing with Israel and blessing the Jewish people. The verse most often referred to in their biblical mandate is Genesis 12:3, which God tells Abraham, I will bless them that bless you, and I will curse them that curse you, and all the families in the earth, and in you, all the families of the earth will be blessed. So this is one of the main scriptures that's used. And then they had, even in the 80s and the early 90s, on wings of eagles to say, fly the Jewish people home and help fulfill prophecy, help God out by paying for the plane tickets for them to leave Russia, leave Germany, different things like that, and fly them back on the wings of eagle to fulfill a prophecy. Since the birth of the state of Israel in 1948, theological error known as the replacement theology has begun to decline and increase in the theology of Christian Zionism that understands the importance of God's everlasting covenant with Abraham and the nation he would birth. All right. So it's very interesting how when they thought the Khazarian people were the people of the Bible and the people of the book, it was like, okay, we're going to lend God a hand and do all these different things. And we're going to, I stand with Israel. And now we stand with every man, woman, and child. I'm not saying be respect the person at all, but to say, well, I stand with Israel. Okay. Now we find out who the real people is, and it don't matter, right? It don't matter. Okay. Christian Zionists, according to the Jewish Virtual Library, Zionism is a national movement for the return of the Jewish people to their homeland. See what I'm saying? Look at it say, turn of the Jewish people to their homeland. I told you where they're from. They might take this show down. I'll just put it on BitChute. And a resumption of the Jewish sovereignty in the land of Israel, advocated from its inception. Tangible as well as spiritual aims. Jews of all persuasion, left and right, religious and secular, joined to form the Zionist movement and work together towards these goals. Disagreements led to rifts, but ultimately the common goal of the Jewish state in its ancient homeland was obtained. The term Zionism was coined in 1890 by Nathan Birnbaum. If Zionism is the belief that the Jewish people's right to return to their homeland, then Christian Zionism should simply be defined as Christians who support the Jewish people right to return to their homeland under the broad and simple definition. Many Christians would qualify no matter what the reasons are for their support. Just as Jews of all persuasions form the Zionist movement, then Christians of all persuasions and faith within the broad definition of Christian Zionism. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna share this in the chat too. So we're being respective person. We're being respective person when it comes to that. We're being respective. Oh, I didn't let that go in the chat. It didn't come in there. Okay, that's the video, the link to the video, and this is the link to that article right there. Okay. The theology, wow, that's crazy, of Christian Zionism. And we're going to go into Theodore Herzl and all of that stuff in the next show. I want to slow walk it. They accepted the plane tickets back to, no, let me see. Is that, let me see. Israel, they will accept the plane ticket back to Ukraine. I think that's the reason why they're trying to get that back, at the Ukraine area back. So if they got to go back, because they don't know, and then the so-called Palestinian people was more Semitic than them, right? And I have a map. I'm gonna show that map later, but that map, it was occupied by Palestine, and they just moved in, right? With the Balfour Declaration after World War II. There's the Balfour Declaration, and again, there's so many layers to this. And they moved in, and so the Arab people was like, "Yo, what's going on? What y'all doing?" It's like we coming home. What you mean you coming home? Man, you was at home. What you mean you coming home? All right, so I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna show this other one too, and about Christian Zionism as well. Thank you, Sisters Nidmore, for the gift. Shalom. Blessings, true children of the Most High Abba Yah. Keep teaching Abba Yah truth. Thank you, brother. Okay. Blessings to you. Replacement theology is interesting. And they got to make up their mind. But I think, too, it's a scary thing. Because if let's just say, for instance, all right, we've been sending them back to Wings on Eagles and taking in Israeli refugees. Because there's a lot of immigrants came over from Israel after World War II. And they got a chance to stay in New York, California, everything. They got a nice sum of money. Germany had to apologize, had to give them some money, send them to Israel. And so we doing all of this stuff. We helping God fulfill prophecy, and we doing all this different stuff, right? And then you find out them folk, them byword people is the people. That's got to be terrifying and devastating. So I got to stick with the narrative of who's who. Or say it don't matter, right? Because that's terrifying. You might not have right out hung somebody from a tree, you know what I mean, or gave somebody's kid to gator bait. And I'm not trying to get the chat upset. We just chewing the fat, okay? Don't get mad. But now you say, whoa, we've been persecuting true Israel. Oh, that's a terrifying thing. I would think it's terrifying. And I would just, I don't know what I'd do if I had to if I found that out. These people we've been beating and doing wrong all of these years. Word? That would be terrifying, man. That would be terrifying. So they got to stick with a certain narrative. That's a scary thing. So that's why he say pray for them who despitefully use you, for sure. But I want to show this other one with this other thing so we can, I'm gonna read these definitions too, and then we're gonna get out of here. All right, so Christian Zionism, the other one. Here's Billy Graham. See, it got me. It's the only, okay, so it just talk about on June 23rd, 1969, in the middle of Manhattan headquarters, the American Jewish Committee and the evangelist Billy Graham met with 24 rabbis and Jewish leaders. According to one rabbi, the meeting was to allow Graham to convey the need for the dialogue and communication between American evangelicals and American Jews, and to find common ground by explaining his relationship with Israel in the pivotal movement of the American Jewish and evangelical Protestant interfaith relationship, right? So they got a lot of those different things going on. Though some of the Jewish leaders were weary about the wild, raving fundamentalists, they didn't feel Billy Graham at first. Graham won them over. He cited the Hebrew scriptures of the Old Testament to describe his understanding of God's covenant with the Jewish people and explained his support for Israel as recompense for past Christian anti-Judaism. All Christians are guilty as far as Jewish experience was concerned, he said. So he apologized to the Jewish people. We sorry, you know what I mean, for what the Byzantine Empire did. We sorry for, for treating y'all bad and calling y'all names in the past. We try to make amends. All Christians are guilty as far as the Jewish experience was concerned, he said. Graham also spoke of his conversations as Jewish experience was concerned. Oh, wait a minute. With Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir, and assured American Jewish leaders that the United States President Richard Nixon was extremely sympathetic to Israel. So Richard Nixon was extremely sympathetic with Israel. Today, many evangelical Christians, Zionists, is no mere side issue. They believe that they are not only correcting the ancient injustice So they believe that they're correcting the ancient injustice of anti-Semitism to his people, right? You didn't mess with God's people. And so even when they moved into Israel, remember they said secular and religious Israel. As long as you, Khazar, come on, right? It don't matter. But a lot of people that controlling Israel is this predominantly secular ones, right? And then the quote unquote religious ones. If you're following Talmud or a little bit of shamanism sprinkled in there, it's not pure faith. It's not Torah. A lot of them, some of them not following Torah, right? Some of you, because what does it say? Yahushua was boiling in hot excrement. They hate Yahushua HaMashiach, and they're waiting for the sacred serpent. Look that up, sacred serpent. They're waiting for the Mashiach, and the guy they got over there right now. I can't call his name off the top of my mind. They're trying to say that he might be the Messiah because he quote the Talmud and the different books front and back. They're trying to build a third temple, and they got this red heifer, and it's just wild, man. And everybody's watching, everybody's looking. Same time, true Israel getting killed and dying in the street. And I ain't trying to make y'all upset. I'm just saying, we got this. Who's who is very, very important, right? Well, Yahushua said, "Who do men say that I am?" Some say you're the prophet. Some say, "Who do you say I am?" Who do you say Yahushua is important? Because if he's just a prophet, or he just just as an enlightened man, then that makes all the difference in the world, and that erases all his finished work, that erases his blood, that erases all that. So, same thing with his people, right? What's going on with his actual people? But contributing to the salvation of the world and the completion of God's redemptive plans. For it is many, the narrative that makes the sense of biblical drama and current events, the roadmap to the future. So they basically believing like, man, look, we've been obedient to the Most High, and we trying to get it together. What's going on with my stuff here? How's it doing that? All right, sorry, y'all. Hold on. Okay. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy. I wanted to show y'all a map too. And also I found out that by helping out the refugees and different things like that, they are doing the Most High a favor, right? That's why they manipulate and say, I will bless them that bless you. I will curse them that curse you, right? So if we doing the Most High's people right, then we'll be blessed. That's deception, y'all. We are being deceived as a nation on the highest level. You can't have selective empathy and 1 minute say, you want reparations, you guys, you lazy, and then turn around and I don't want to go into another show. This is January 19, 2023. Biden administration announces $2.5 billion in military assistance to the Ukraine. To the Khazar. Now, I'm not saying they don't need help, but what we chop liver over here? Are you serious? Are you serious? You see what it said? That's a new post. 2.5 billion military assistance, tanks, water, food, taking in refugees, right? At the same time, Haiti refugees, nah, you got to keep it moving, right? And even when the Ethiopian Hebrews try to move back into the land, which I believe that land is divergent too. Shout out to Teo. I really believe that land is divergent. I believe the continent is true Israel, biblical Israel. I really believe that because it's a land flowing with milk and honey. I mean, it's so much space. It got precious metals. It got precious diamonds. It got cobalt. It got rare minerals and metals and different things that is nowhere else on the continent, right? It's feeding nations. Not only the people feeding nations, this continent is feeding nations, That's why they cut it up. They want to chop they want to chop the continent up, Africa. They want to chop it up, feeding nations, right? So I think that might be a diversion. That might be a piece of it because it is. But they saying so. Egypt, then it's Israel, then it's so-called Middle East. So from Israel on, they're saying that's the Middle East. That's not connected to Africa, which all of that is Africa because it's on the same tectonic plate. All that is in Africa, right? Because if you say the Middle East is in Africa, then you got to say the Garden of Eden is in Africa, right? With the Euphrates, the Tigris River, and all of that. So they're trying to make that something else, right? But anyway, I digress. So I just think that we're being respected of person. We're being respected of person. When you do these to the least of these, my brother, you do it unto me. Now, I'm not saying we need to get our ego stroked. And I know that we went into it because, it's beyond Deuteronomy 28, but I'm saying, man, we got seminaries, we got schools, we having all this different stuff. We're pouring in millions, if not billions of dollars to help God out and to bless his people. That's a manipulation. You don't really believe that scripture. I will bless them that bless you and curse them that curse you. That's manipulation. That's a sleight of hand. Some people don't believe that. They Talmudic. Some is secular. Right? They're not trying to feel Torah or nothing. Right? And so it's a power play. So I'm gonna read this real quick, and then we're gonna get out of here for real. Because I said I'm gonna break it down, and it's a few other things I want to share. I'm probably gonna remember when I get off air. It's always like that, right? No, Khazarian Empire. So y'all, we already talked about that, but let me see. Slideshow. We already went over this. So modern day Ukraine is Khazaria. The real Jewish homeland is Khazaria in the Caucasus Mountains, where there is a mass conversion of Judaism in the 8th century. These people with no connection to the ancient Israel moved up to Eastern and Western Europe and then headed to the U.S. and Israel to become today's Jewish people, right? Melanoma, I want to say, skin cancer is second in so-called occupied Israel right now, only to Australia, which is first. So that lets you know we're going home. Okay, well, nature is like, what's going on? You gotta have something and lotion to go home, right? What's going on? And I'm not being racist. I'm just saying, man, we don't use critical theory. No, we don't use critical thinking, not critical theory. The Khazars was a pagan civilization, and in short period became the largest and most powerful kingdom in Europe, and also the wealthiest. And they still is the wealthiest, but they don't have total control because the Anglo got part of it too. And I don't want to get into that, but that's why it's a battle, right? It's a battle. So sometimes the covert operation is act like they're coming to our aid, but not. I don't want to get ahead of part two, but like the NAACP, some of those founders was Jewish or Khazarian founders. Black Lives Matter, Soros, right? These might be some hot words that might take it up. They come. Oh man, y'all getting done wrong in it. Yeah, I'm gonna fund your stuff. Okay, bet we got somebody on our side, and then they bringing in the alphabet agenda behind it, right? So it's always it's strings attached a lot of time, right? Their religious worship was a mix of phallic worship, shamanism, other forms of idolatry practiced in Asian by pagan nations. The form of pagan worship continued in the 7th century in vile forms of sexual access and lewdness indulgence by the Khazars as part of religious belief. In the 7th century, King Bulan, the ruler at that time, decided to end the practice of phallic worship and other forms of idolatrous worship and make one of the three monotheistic religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Okay, definitions. I'm gonna read these definitions and then I'm gonna read the chat and we're gonna get off of here. Propaganda. Because remember, they said it's three reasons, right? Some of the conversions is not a true conversion of the heart to Mashiach, right? It's a power move. If you're going for a power move, or because of political, or because of family, or because of you want to, it's not true. It said people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Right? Now it's not up to us to say you in, you out, you a sheep, you a goat. I'm not saying that. But our job is to love Abba Yah with all our heart, mind, soul, will, and emotions. And then we can love our neighbors, we love ourselves. Right? And we love the Most High love us. And he said, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew thee. I know you. Right? You're my people. Right? That's why he's saying, coming out, I want you to be set apart. But if we doing what everybody else doing, we ain't going to be set apart. Right? Propaganda. Information, especially a bias or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. Subversion. I'm reading these. These are the words, the definitions from the Arthur Kessler book, chapter 2. Subversion, the undermining of power and authority of established systems or institutions. Military conquest, the act of military subjugation of an enemy by force of arms. So when you say, in this sign we shall conquer, and you going out doing your own thing, or the Khazars going out, or the Caliphate, or whoever going out, they're doing it for territory, money, power, respect, the lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, pride of life, to colonize. You know what I'm saying? The golden rule is he who got the gold rule, right? What's mine is mine, what's yours is mine, right? So conquest in international law, the acquisition of territory through force, especially by ferocious state in a war. Especially by a victorious state in a war at an expense of a defeated state, right? The most important principle of conquest is that it must be a state-issued annex with the purpose of acquiring new territory clearly in mind, right? In this sign we shall conquer. Cultural conquest suggests that the meaning of two cultures in an unequal contact zone of imperialism and or colonialism, where the West culture achieves a victory over the non-West culture. Colonization versus conquest. While various empires over the course of history have been able to expand and dominate large parts of the world, none have come close to conquering all of the territory of the earth. And so they're trying to get back to that Tower of Babel. They want to conquer the whole earth. It's still pockets that they haven't conquered, right? It's divisions, it's isms, it's schisms. That's why the 10 toes at the end is part iron and part clay, right? It's not together. It's not cohesive. It doesn't stick together, right? They got hidden agendas, right? They some of them only cooperating for selfish and lustful and prideful gains, right? Because they don't want to lose their position. But they're not together. But they want to be able to control the whole world, right? The dollar got power. The yen got power, right? And so we got different faiths, right? We got different things going on all over the world. We got different wars and rumors of war. So they like, look, we're going to create this problem, and then we're going to have the solution of, look, you know what? We need to all get along. Like Rodney King said back in the day, can we all just get along, come together? Look, you can keep your faith, but your faith's not greater than mine. My faith's not greater than yours. We're going to have some one world currency. You know what I mean? We're going to have world police, right? We're going to have the social credit score, and you ain't going to be able to move around like you want because of this global warming. You got this carbon thing going on, carbon issue going on, messing up the planet. So you only can move around in your section. But everything you need to do is going to be in that section. Live, eat, sleep, restaurant, the theater, or whatever they're going to have in your little section. Almost like in 1984. That's what I'm saying. That book was amazing. Colonization and conquest. Conquest is taking possession of the territory by force. Colonization is the placement into a territory of settlers who are politically, economically, and military connected to their parent state, right? So it's like, y'all can stay here, but we need your mind, will, emotions, your resources belong to the king or belong to the queen, right? That's queen land, right? Right? Like even how we see today in England, right? The Queen land, right? New Zealand, right? Australia, America, all these different. No, these are all Queen lands, right? Y'all can stay there, but y'all gonna have to shoot it through, right? We need that. We need that bread. We need the resources. We need you to think like us, so you're gonna have to assimilate to our culture, right? We need the bodies and souls of men. We need the mind, will, and emotion of the people. We need all that. Run it through real quick, right? So that's why even when I watched the Hidden Colors again, part 3, first thing they did, they went in soft with the religion, right? Went in with religion, you know what I mean? All right, then they went in with education, right? It's like, oh man, we're a third world country. We don't have no education, right? Well, you got basic common sense. Treat people right? Don't harvest the whole fruit off of a tree because somebody coming along that might need it. You know what I'm saying? Basic Torah principles, right? A lot of people know that, right? Even they was talking about how the Native Americans in this area, they say, okay, it's just buffalo everywhere, right? You share the space, right? You take what you need and you don't go wipe it all the way out to the point where it's just all gone, right? And so a lot of people knew this. It wasn't about a conquest. It wasn't about what's mine is mine, what's yours is mine, colonization. So first thing is religion, then they go in with education, right? You don't know no better. Let me train you. Let me educate you. But I'm withholding certain things. I'm not telling you everything. I'm only going to tell you certain things. I'm only going to share with you certain things what I want you to know so you can be a good worker, right? I want you to be a good worker. So I'm going to share with you certain things. Bam, right? Got your mind, will, and emotion in that. And then for everybody else, I got to show you, I mean business. Then military come in. I mean business, right? You can lay down, I'm going to put you down, right? And that's been the pattern the whole time, all right? So I kind of, part 2, I'm going to go into some other different things. Actual sources, how do they acquire different banks? I got this document. It's amazing. How they got the German bank, how they got the French bank, how they got the diamond mines, the coal mine. It's amazing, you know what I'm saying? But every time you call it out, they call foul play by using anti-Semitism. You know, y'all trying to beat us down. We've been beat down enough. And even in school, you're gonna learn about Anne Frank, Schindler's List, and again, that's an atrocity, and it's terrible. And I don't condone violence and nothing like that. But man, what about our Holocaust? We had never heard about Leopold, what he went to the Congo and did. They didn't want to harvest the rubber trees. He cut their hands off. Well, you ain't gonna harvest nothing then. You feel what I'm saying? We don't hear about that, right? The atrocities, because if you're 3/5 of a man, or you're less than human, or that's the reason why he's like, no man shall buy you. No man gonna come to your rescue, because you created to worship. So if I let somebody else rescue you, then you're gonna worship it or worship them. And this is the end of the book, and everything gonna be restored to me. You're gonna worship me. So I don't want you to worship a political party. I don't want you to worship nothing, right? You can use all these different things, but I don't want you to worship nothing. I don't want you to worship your government, nothing. You're gonna worship me. I want all hope is lost. And I think it might have been on Tales when it's like people can go back to where everybody can go back to their home when the rubber meets the road. Koreans can go back to Korea, Chinese can go back to China, right? Even some people that was on the continent that wasn't born over here, they're from now Nigeria or Lagos or wherever they come from, they can go back to Greece, Spain, Russia, France. But it's us, we just like, If he don't come for us, we through. If he don't come for us, we through, because there's so many generations of so we don't know. I mean, we know it's the Western African area and the point of no return, doorway in the middle passage and all of that. We know that, but I'm saying where, right? And then they try to make in closing, they make and I'm gonna read some of the chat. They make the continent undesirable. I know from watching TV, right? It's for 50 cents a day. You can feed this little baby. You know what I mean? They sitting there with a pamper, malnourished, big stomach, flies on the face. You know what I mean? Different things like that. And Sally Struthers and all these people, or they might say, okay, this is Africa. And they might, a lion chasing a antelope or something. But there's major cities over there. They make it undesirable. Right? They say something, they don't want y'all over here. Y'all some Yankees. Well, I know they say that down south. Yankee boy, the Jamaicans be like. But it's like some people want you to come back to the continent. You're a nation builder, and you got one up because you have insight on certain things. If we all went back to the continent, families at a time, every year, let's just say, for instance, 1,000 families went back to the continent. We got businesses, we got witty inventions. Not saying that they don't. We've been exposed to school, we've been spoiled with this American life, so we can go over there and create certain stuff. Like on Stepping Stones to Home, they was interviewing the lady. She said, "Man, it's wide open over here. Man, it's wide open. You can come over here and set up shop, pay your stuff, and it's wide open, right? And it's land for days for the growing people." And different things like that is straight wide open on the continent. But then on TV, they show it undesirable. So, okay, I went a little bit longer than what I thought. Let's see what's going on. 78 vet Shalom. Shalom. Blessed to you. Shelter 51. I always tear that up. Shetla 51. Oh, excuse me. Glenda Palms. Praise Yah. Praise Yah for you. Big Zay. Shalom, shalom to you. Linya Hamashiach. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Shalom, shalom. Say on fire is in the building? Oh, okay. Let me see. They might. Rose Tally. Blessings to you, man. We got to chop it up. Who else? Stay on fire. Shalom. Blessings to y'all, man. Blessings to y'all. I'm not trying to throw nobody under the bus, but it just seems like you'll be surprised. But like I said, in our circle, we know the Genesis 10, we know these different things, but a lot of people that don't understand that. Yeah, get those thumbs up as you enter in. Brew Queen, shalom. Blessings to you. Thank you. Randy Powell, shalom. Blessings to you. Shalom. Blessings to you. Cold World, blessings to you. Blessings to you. Blessings to y'all. So up next, Ophies, the Hebrew Chalmers. Blessings to you. I know some of y'all had left and went over to, I think this might be Elder Adams. Type it in the chat for Elder Adams. Ezekiel 37, the dry bones and the two sticks are us. We have been scattered to all four corners of the world. Man, to say that don't matter, I mean, man, it's just us so much, man. Say it don't. That's why they say to say it don't matter if when they figure out the gig is up, they say it don't matter. And they take it out of context. Neither Jew nor Greek. It don't matter. No, it does matter. It does matter. If you want the triumphant entry of the Mashiach, you want him to come and reign and rule and be on certain things that need to be done. Right? He didn't get rid of his people. Right? I think we have, a divorced mind state, because you can marry somebody and say in sickness and health to death do you part and all that. Then y'all fall out, or they take the money, or they cheat, and then we can say, and I'm not going against nobody in the chat if you got a divorce. They say we had irreconcilable differences, And we think the Most High like that. Like I kept on with these people. I give them over to their lust. I give them to different nations. I give them to Assyria. I give them to Babylon. I give them to Egypt. I give them to second Egypt. And I'm just done with them. So I'm just gonna just get predominantly Gentile so-called church, and this sign we're gonna conquer. And we changing the color of them. We don't like the color of the Shiite. We make Caesar Borgia. We change the color. We change Hebraic culture, right, and customs and traditions and some stuff that wasn't fulfilled and done away with. We done it don't pertain to us. So it's not a Western mindset. So we just get rid of it. Like, really? You can come in and with a highlighter and a Sharpie and some whiteout and highlight some stuff out the Bible. I mean, white out some stuff out the Bible and Sharpie some stuff out and highlight other stuff. It's just crazy. Replacement theology. Let's see. Replacement theology teaches Israel has been replaced by so-called Christianity and the church, which isn't the truth. That must be Elder Adam. Yeah, absolutely. It hasn't. It's a plan. And they're being a respected person, man. It is what it is. Don't want those curses, right? Those curses, those consequences, they don't want that. But when it's time to reign and rule, we just say the sinner's prayer, accept Republican Jesus, and keep on moving. Like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And if they take this down, Brian Dow, I have a copy of the 13th Tribe. If anybody want an ebook? Yeah, Brian Dow, shalom. Yeah, that 13th Tribe is interesting, man. That 13th Tribe is interesting. Very interesting book. But that's just the chapter that stood out to me because it talked about the conversions, right? The conversion, right? And it's wild, man. So I'm gonna talk about Jacob Schiff, and he had 4 points he had to do when he came over to Americas. Right after slavery had ended, they sent a young man, number 18, by the name of Jacob Schiff, sent him over here, and he was accomplished 4 things. And that's the reason why the Democratic Party is even strong. I'm going ahead of myself. I'm going to get off of here. The reason the Democratic Party is strong because they backed it because it was down bad when he came over, but they backed it and took care of it. That's why it's quote unquote we say liberal and conservative. And conservative, like we're gonna conserve the wealth, we're gonna conserve racism, white supremacy, we're gonna conserve and preserve our position, right? Dominant society. And then the liberal, like, man, shoot, do what you want. And so it looks like, man, they for us. You know what I mean? But once I tell you this background about, again, you can vote for who you want to. I'm not ragging on your political beliefs or customs or whatever, but I'm just saying, they go on to that. They go on to that. But they came in, bankrolled that, and then they saying cause discontentment or sow discord between the so-called African American and the Anglo. You know what I mean? But not letting us know they bankrolled the ships, right? Not letting us know that they had their hand in on some of the slave trade as well, right? But if you call them out, all right, pull out the Schindler's List movie. You know what I'm saying? It's like bring out the world's smallest violin and leave them alone. They've suffered enough. You know what I mean? Excuse me. So when you see the Holocaust pictures, it makes you go, oh man, I'm gonna leave them alone, bro. They got done bad. You know what I mean? And so it's a respected person. I tell one person to never forget, and have the other person, every chance you get, we'll never forget. So anyway, Elephant Man Podcast Network, Grown Man, all of the isms and systems. Grown Man conversations dealing with elephants in the room. I'm going to have to check majority of the playback for Sister Ashonda, but I'm going to check it out right now. She got a live going on, and I think Sister E got a live going on at 9 p.m. I think it's Eastern. I don't know. So Elephant Man Podcast Network, grown man conversation, dealing with elephants in the room. I am out.
Perfect.